Let's do some coding. Welcome to this new series. No intro, no data, no insights. You know the name, so let's start right in. In the series, I call it Defichain coding. So it's about coding Defichain. I will try to implement this upcoming DFIP or this DFIP that's currently being voted on. I don't know if it will be approved, but I thought let's give it a shot. On the one hand, I will learn a bit more about coding Defichain core code. You guys out there might get some insights how coding blockchain stuff can work. And if it gets approved and we get this thing on this going, then it increases the chances that it gets merged in and ready to activate soon, because without that, it could be that it's not implemented anytime soon. I don't know what's the priorities on the core team there, but well, you never know. So let's give it a shot. A bit of a disclaimer, this will be pretty technical. So deep coding, definitely no beginner stuff. I will try to explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, so that also non-coders can follow along, but don't expect any well-prepared documentation or tutorials or anything. It's likely more of a coding diary where I'm talking about what I'm trying, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what worked, what didn't work, and so on. Also, I didn't do it yet. It's the first time I'm doing such a big feature on my own on Defichain. So it's likely that I will have some back and forth, some trying out, failing, and yeah, this might be a bit confusing to people who are not used to coding and also not in the Defichain code. As always, feel free to comment if you have some ideas, if you want to contribute, help me or anything, feel free. I will try to make it as easy as possible, but yeah, I don't know where this is ending up. So today, there will be not much coding. Today I just want to give you a quick intro on what's going to happen. Also a bit of the setup around it, setting up the IDE, setting up the compiler and everything, and then having the whole thing running. GitHub, or not GitHub, Defichain itself is hosted on GitHub. It's in the Defichain repository. That's the core repository where the Defichain full node code, so the main repository code or main Defichain code is in. And I forked this repository already in my personal GitHub account some time ago when I already did some small things. So I already have that. And here I'm now on the master. And in this repository, I now created an issue where I want to track the progress of this endeavor. It's about that stuff. We'll create a pull request. And today I want to set up the IDE, or I already set it up. I'll show you how I set it up. And then the further plan in the future is that I will write a test that covers the functionality, because I believe that in a lot of cases, test-driven development makes sense. Not always, but a lot of cases. So I usually try to write a test first that covers the functionality, because then I also have to think about what is the actual functionality, how should this feature be used, and what makes sense there in the usage. And then it's easier and better to implement the thing afterwards, because sometimes you find out during the test that the way you intended the feature to work doesn't make sense from a user perspective. So let's do the test first and then the implementation. There will be more points once we have the test, but right now I was honestly too lazy, because I thought, like, let's just get this thing going. Also, maybe to all the professional coders out there, yes, this is not a professional setup. This is not a professional project as you would do it and do a long definition protocol or anything, definition document. I'm just going along and might skip some steps that you think you need in a professional environment. But yeah, you can always do the stuff yourself if you want to. What I want to do is, what will be implemented is basically outlined in the pseudocode from the DFIP definition, because there it's already written and I just copy it over, and this is basically what we will want to do. And also a bit as a heads up how I will approach this, or heads up as a definition of how I will approach this. As I said, it will be a bit of a diary, so I'm talking to my diary right now. So I will try to use best practices from status quo development. Say it this way, I don't know if it's best practices, it's how it's done right now in the Defichain code, because I know a lot of those things that we have there are in some way already implemented. Like there are already stock splits. So we have already dToken splits where one token is converted to another one, new token, and all the balances are swapped to the new token and everything. So there is some code in there that already does that, which we can likely reuse and copy over and just modify to our liking. Also, we already have the future swap, which is an internal smart contract that needs to store information, what account has what balance in the future swap in the smart contract, what tokens are in there and stuff like that. So there is already how you store that on the chain, how you store that in the database, in the stuff there. So we will likely be able to reuse that. Also transactions and then the release of the future swap and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff that in some way or another is already there, and we don't have to invent it ourselves again. Just reuse existing code and try to apply it and combine it correctly together. Yeah, and that's basically the plan. So I will start with the activation block, what's happening there. So this actual restart where everything is locking away, because I think that's the main block. And then we have the transfer domain that we extend the transfer domain. There again, in the transfer domain, there is already the functionality that if a stock split happened, that on the transfer back, the stock split is applied. So this is basically exactly the same that we want to do here. So we will likely reuse the code. I didn't look at those parts of the code yet, so this is all just my assumption, but we will see how it plays out. Also, we need to extend the stock split itself to update also the future swap, the smart contract there, and this release tranche transaction is likely the easiest once we have all the other stuff. So that's roughly the plan. I didn't do any of the other coding yet. So today it's just about setting it up. And this is the plan on GitHub. Now GitHub is set up, or my GitHub is set up. I already created a branch locally, but didn't commit anything there. So there is no pull request to be done yet, but I will create a pull request as soon as I started the test file. And the only thing that I want to do now is show you the IDE that I'm working on or working with, and that's Visual Studio Code. Why Visual Studio Code? Honestly, I used it a bit already. Normally I use C-Line if I work with C++, but I asked Peter from the core team, and he said he's using Visual Studio Code because the Rust plugin in C-Line was not working or something. But anyway, he said to use that, or that he uses that, and I was like, okay, then I try that too. And here I have now Visual Studio Code open with the ain folder that I checked out. And you see we have in the repository, basically you have the source file, the source folder with all the source files, the C++ code and Rust code somewhere in there. And you have the test folder where you have all the tests. The tests are mainly Python. So we will likely just copy one of those files for the feature tests and put all the tests in there. But we will cover that in the next video when I write the test. The important thing is how to run the test and how to do all that stuff. And there's one nice thing. If you are in this main folder, you have, okay, I'm not running it right now, just showing you. We have the make script that the Defichain core team built some time ago, which basically encapsulates all the different make scripts and preparation builds and everything. And I already have all the compilers and everything set up on my machine. But if you need to do that yourself, there is this cheat markdown in the doc folder where you have the quick start and everything. On the one hand, the usage, and for the development, wait a second, there should be the build. Where's the build part? Am I blind now? I'm missing the build part here. Yeah, anyway, you have the build here where you have the build nodes to configure everything and run it. And that's mainly, by the way, that's mainly all Bitcoin code and Bitcoin documentation back from the days, because this was forked from Bitcoin. And here's the build. Yeah, you have to make sh build that basically does everything. And if it doesn't work right out of the box, you can do the dependencies and install user, install Rust and stuff like that. Back when I set it up on my machine, so I'm on Mac, it all worked after just doing those steps and when. But yeah, if you need something, it worked on my machine. So good luck. Yeah, running the tests. So if you just want to build the thing that you have it build locally, make build, and to run the tests, it's basically make sh test, which is running then building the whole thing and running the tests, all the tests, which is good if you change something and just want to run the full test suite. And you can also say you want to run just the Python tests, which are those functional tests, and for example just do a filter for, I don't know, feature. Let's take the EVM part that we have up there, and now it does a lot of building and running the test. So it's running test passed, which is nice. And yeah, a lot of EVM tests, but you see, basically, we know now it's all set up correctly because it was able to compile. Since I already compiled it before, this is not there again. Maybe just for you to see, you could run make sh clean. So it cleans the whole build folder and everything. And now if I run this again, I'm now seeing an error. Nice. Yeah, because I didn't run build before. It seems you need to run build before you can run test. And now it's copying a lot of stuff and building a lot of stuff. This will now take a lot of time, so I will not bore you with that, because in our task, the setup is done, first task completed, and in the next video, now I will write the test, and in the next video talk about it once I've done that. So if you like that, if you want to follow along and want me to do more of this coding diary, or have questions or anything, leave a comment, and then we see where this 45-day challenge is leading us. With that, see ya.